What's up guys, Sam Adams here and welcome to The Drop, which is a series every single Monday here on my channel where I go through the top video games of the week and let you guys know what you should keep an eye out for if you're looking to pick up something new to play after E3 2015. Perhaps maybe you're sick of talking about games and would rather play one for a change. But this is actually the first edition of The Drop since I added the green screen to the entire setup, so I thought that I would explain how I'm going to be using that in The Drop from now on. Obviously, if you pay attention to the thumbnail of the video every week, you will notice that I kind of give a front page to a certain title if there's a significant release coming out, and I pick the biggest release from the list that I have to choose from and kind of give it the front page, so to speak. And that's what I'll be doing with the green screen as well as the thumbnail. As you can see, I have Gotham City behind me because Batman Arkham Knight is making its debut this week. I'll be going to the midnight release, but we'll talk a little bit about that whenever we actually get into the Arkham Knight game here. But as of right now, let's just go ahead and break down what games are coming out this week. So first off, we've got Planetside II finally coming to the PlayStation 4 after an extremely long beta, and it seems like this has been talked about for quite a while. But this is a free-to-play first-person shooter with an entirely huge, enormous world to explore. I actually played it on PC, and although it can get kind of dull just because the players on PC are getting kind of bored with it themselves, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this one works on console. Basically, you have three different empires you can choose to let your player associate with. You've got the Terran Republic, the New Conglomerate, and the Vanu Sovereignty, which in the end don't really affect your entire standings unless you really care about how the game is playing out. If you would like more of a challenge, then go for an empire that has less of a percentage of the control of the entire map. Pretty much how the game works is that each of the little sections is controlled by a certain empire, and as another empire kind of encroaches on that other empire's land, there is a battle that ensues, which is where you come in, you fight the battle, you shoot the other enemies, and then that certain empire takes over more of the other empire's land, and it just kind of is an ever-changing world that can pretty much just on the spur of the moment, you can play it one day and then come back a couple of hours later and an entirely new republic has sprung up, and there's, you know, complete shift of power. It's a really interesting game, and I think that it works really well on PC. I think that the fact that it's free to play on PlayStation 4 will actually improve this game's life cycle just because a lot of people will pick it up just to see what's going on with the game itself, and I think that that is pretty dang cool. So if you want to jump in on the action, it's coming out on the PlayStation 4 this week. It's been available for PC for a very long time, but for console releases, this is new, and again, it's free, so I mean, why not? Next up, we've got Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition coming to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC for $25, which is actually a pretty good deal, I guess, but the game did come out originally in 2008. So the Special Edition of the game comes with all of the DLC, 1080p, 60 frames a second, pretty much the standard remaster job that we kind of come to expect these days whenever you're porting from old gen to new gen. But one thing that's really interesting about this one is that you actually have to earn some of the DLC and extra stuff that you would normally be able to just kind of unlock whenever a remaster comes out like this, and I think that that's really a pretty cool mechanic that the devs are including in the game. However, if you're lazy and you don't really want to play the game and you just want to kind of jump right into it, you can pay to get past all of the actual, you know, playtime and just access all of the content, which I'm not that happy about, but I guess if some of the developers are happy about it, then that's okay. They've actually added Super Nero and Super Dante, which means that you pretty much don't have to worry about any meters whenever you're performing giant combos. If you aren't familiar with Devil May Cry, I'm actually new to the franchise, not sure if I mentioned that, but pretty much you just put together all these action, you know, punching, slashing combos, and you kill a whole bunch of enemies. Normally you would have to worry about a meter running out, and then you would have to recharge that meter, let yourself have some time to kind of recharge and reinvigorate after a giant battle. But with the super characters, you don't have to do that, which I think is pretty cool, and it should add just a little bit more fun to that gameplay. I think that this is more of a passion project than anything, and fans of Devil May Cry are definitely going to appreciate this one whenever it hits stores this Tuesday. Next up, we've got a lot of Final Fantasy XVII Online to deal with this week coming to the new generation console, so let's go ahead and break it down step by step. Final Fantasy XVII Online: A Realm Reborn, I believe is what it was called, came out on the PlayStation 3 a couple of years ago. It was then ported to the PlayStation 4, and it is an MMO online set in the world of Final Fantasy, where you have to pay $13 a month to kind of access the content. So that's been going on the PlayStation 4 and 3 for quite a while, and I believe it's available on the Xbox 360 and Xbox One as well. But now we're getting the second kind of expansion pack that's coming out to that MMO world, known as Heavensward, Final Fantasy 17 Online Heavensward, and you can pick that up for 40 bucks at your local GameStop, and A Realm Reborn is 60. Or you can go ahead and get the second big Final Fantasy 17 release if you are new to the entire experience itself, known as Final Fantasy 17 Online, the Complete Edition, which comes with A Realm Reborn as well as Heavensward. That is a lot of Final Fantasy, and I believe this one is full priced, but details on this one were kind of few and far between. I couldn't find much information on this, so I'm not sure if it's actually getting a full publicized release, but Heavensward is definitely coming out. A Realm Reborn is out, so if you're looking for a Final Fantasy experience, it is definitely there and you can experience that. But I do have to remind you guys that it is $12.99 a month, $12.99 for 30 days if you want to get in on that. So that can definitely be kind of habit forming if you do end up enjoying the MMO. So keep that in mind as you are getting into the world of Final Fantasy. But if you got that money, go for it, man. I mean, why not? Tales from the Borderlands Episode 3 Catch a Ride is coming out this week on pretty much anything that can play a game. And obviously this is coming from Telltale Games, and they are the kings of storytelling in modern gaming. I love the work that Telltale has done. I've watched a lot of their stuff on Twitch, I've watched a lot of it on YouTube, and I can confidently say that they're doing some pretty awesome stuff over at that studio. But in Tales from the Borderlands, you play as Rise and Fiona, or at least you follow the story of these two characters. Rise wants to be the next handsome Jack, and Fiona wants to strike it rich, and they are making a pretty good team. And obviously this is episode 3, but you can pick them all up for 25 bucks on Steam, and I'm assuming that it's pretty much the same price across the board. Like I said, you can pick up pretty much this game on anything and play it whenever and wherever you are. So that's pretty dang awesome. Whenever you are, man. If you are in the future, past, whenever you are, you can play this game. But looks to be pretty good. I'll probably pick it up at some point. It was on sale in the Steam Monster Sale this past week, so hopefully you got this, and if you did, don't forget that episode 3 is hitting this week. Next up, we've got Ride coming to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC in America this week. It actually came out in March in Europe, which I thought was pretty interesting that they kind of scheduled the release that far ahead of one another. But hey, you know, whatever works. But it's a bike racing game, a lot like MotoGP, but this one actually surprisingly looks decent. Normally these kind of small racing games don't look that great graphically, but this one definitely kind of took me by surprise, especially since there aren't that many racers that have to do with motorcycles out there on the market. There are over 100 bikes, 16 tracks across the world that you can play on, and like I said, this one actually looks pretty good. The one thing I noticed is that there's pretty deep customization as far as the bikes go. You can change out stuff as small as the mirrors. I'm not that familiar with these kind of racing games, but that seems like some pretty deep customization. So if you're looking for a new motorcycle racing game this week on your old generation console or PC, you can check out Ride, which is again coming out this week. And of course, we cannot end out this edition of The Drop without talking about Batman Arkham Knight, which is coming out this week, and I am particularly excited about this one because I'm a huge fan of the Batman Arkham combat. The combat in these games is absolutely breathtaking and the most fluid combat that I've ever experienced in a game in my entire life. Huge fan of that stuff, and I really like what Rocksteady has transformed Batman into the gaming industry. But this game's coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and I'm actually going to the midnight release of it, so stay tuned here on the channel if you want to see a video of that. I did one for the Destiny midnight release, and I was going to do one for the Witcher midnight release, but that ended up getting canceled because they released the game early. Anyways, a long story, back to Batman. This is the 4th Arkham game, and at the end of the last one, Joker died because his blood was poisoned and he was trying to pretty much poison the whole city and Gotham and, you know, Arkham Asylum and all of that stuff. So Batman took him down, he died. And at the beginning of a trailer in E3, he was actually burning, so the Joker is gone, and now Scarecrow is trying to take over where the Joker once was as kind of king of the criminal activity in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Gotham, all of that good stuff. Scarecrow is trying to take over. So that's pretty much the plot. He's got all of the villains going against Batman, and they're trying to kill him. One interesting point is that this is the first Arkham game that is rated M, so that means that it is definitely going to have some dark overtones, and I think that that is really good. What Batman Arkham, the entire franchise, has kind of become is that awesome Batman game that we as adults and older people that play games have been looking for a long time, because Batman games have always been kind of oriented towards children. They've always been kind of, you know, the superhero games, a lot like the Spider-Man games are now, and Batman has been completely transformed by Rocksteady City into something that is mature and specifically made for the fans that are really into Batman, but it's also welcoming to newcomers alike. If you've never played a Batman Arkham game, there is no better time to jump into the franchise right now. All of the games are pretty cheap. They were still on sale during the Steam Monster Sale. If you had a chance to pick any of those up, they were on sale for I think $5 a piece, which is absolutely incredible. Highly recommend Arkham City. If you've got the money, pick up Arkham Knight. It looks amazing. It takes a lot for me to pre-order something, but I went ahead and jumped on this one. But again, this one's coming out this Tuesday for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, so have fun in Gotham. So there you guys have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a like down below and comment what game you are the most excited to play this week. Are you really looking forward to Arkham Knight? Did Ride really strike a fancy with you? Or have you been waiting for Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition for the next generation consoles for a very long time? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you are new to the channel or you've never seen any of my other content, I upload new stuff like 4 or 5 days a week. I covered E3 2015 every day of last week pretty much. I think I uploaded something every day. There's a huge playlist on my channel if you want to catch up on all of your E3 2015 news. But as of right now, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this video. Share if you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.